Hello, happy Thursday morning. It is April 2nd, so you survived April Fool's Day. I don't know if you did anything crazy or got any April Fool's done to you. If you did, I want to hear about it. I definitely did not. Although yesterday felt like April Fool's Day. It was just one of those days where things would not go right. I cut my finger when I was making lunch. I almost caught the house on fire cooking, like so smoky. So it's literally like it was one of those days where I was so excited to go to bed and just have a reset to start for today. So I'm very excited about today because it's got to be better than yesterday. And so far, so good. No injuries, no house fires. Everything's going smoothly. So that makes me very, very happy. What I want to talk to you today about is action that you can take in your business to create win-win scenarios for you and your customers. So one thing that I am seeing a lot right now is businesses that are being impacted greatly by COVID and what's happening, who really are struggling with how can I continue to generate cash flow? And the easiest way for people to do this is to continue to subscribe to the paper, continue to maintain your membership to your co-working space. Don't cancel or put on hold your yoga membership, right? And it makes sense. And as humans, we want to help other businesses and we see that struggling. And there's nothing wrong with asking for help. I think it's important in these times that we ask for help. I'm going to actually talk tomorrow about really taking action to get help for your business. But I really feel strongly that asking your customers to continue to pay you out of the kindness of their heart, whether or not they can use your services right now, doesn't help you in the long term as a business or a brand. It's a short-term Band-Aid, but there is a way that you can create win-win scenarios so that you can get what you need in order to operate cash flow, but you make it compelling and you make it a win for the customers too. So an example of this might be if I'm a yoga studio, I might say, if you maintain your annual membership or your monthly auto pay during COVID when we're no longer operating, here's what we're going to do. When we operate, when we return to business as usual, you're going to get 2 private sessions. Plus, we're going to extend your membership for another 3 months. So, right, so that it's basically delaying that cash flow, because 3 months from now, or when this is over, it could be 6 months, it could be 18 months, who knows, you have the ability to generate new cash flow. So what I want you to think about for your business, instead of just saying, help me, continue to pay me, to think about what would incentivize your customers to want to gladly continue to pay you at this time in a way that they feel like they are going to get value out of this. So, right, if you're a co-working space, for example, it might be like, if you maintain your membership during this time, when we reopen, we are going to throw in a complimentary wellness membership for 3 months, or we're going to throw in extra meeting credits for you, or we're going to go ahead and upgrade the number of hours that you have, or we're going to give you extra guest passes. What can you do so that people are like, not only am I doing the right thing by supporting members and businesses in my community, but I am also doing it in a way that my customers are so excited for the way that I'm showing up for them and supporting them. And this goes back to what I have been saying from the beginning, that when a crisis happens as a business owner, we are compelled to show up as a leader. And showing up as a leader means showing up better than you ever had before. And so thinking about, I'm not a big believer in slashing prices and saying, and giving away things for free. I think that I understand the desire to do that in times like this, because it feels like you're doing something and something is better than nothing. But I think long-term, it can erode your pricing and it can erode your brand consistency. So instead, I want you to think about, let's keep the pricing the same. We're asking people to continue to do business with us oftentimes when they might not have access to the same services that they had before. So why would they want to do that? Yes, because they care about our business. Yes, because they're invested in the community. Yes, because they want to see us succeed. All of those things are true, but all of those things are about us and not about our customers. And instead, I want you to think about, how can I make it compelling so that the customers who stand by us during this time, we support them in bigger ways than we ever have before, and to think about what are those compelling offers. So maybe I'm trying to think of some other examples. So we talked about, yoga studio. We talked about if you're a co-working space. What's another example of a business that's been really hit by this, that wants people to continue to support them? So, right, restaurants are doing this a lot with, if you buy a gift certificate, and even if you're a hairstyle, pay for your next 3 haircuts, and then we'll give you a free eyebrow waxing every time you come in. If my hairdresser did that, I'd be like, here's my check. I'm prepaid. I'm going to pay that money anyways when you're back in business. And awesome, I can get my eyebrow waxing. The things that you need to be thinking about are what makes it compelling for your customers. I hate having Band-Aids. What makes it compelling for your customers? What's the win for them? What is the win that they get for paying you now? And is it sustainable? Because the last thing I want you to do is make an offer to say, okay, say you're a yoga studio. This is a great example. And you're like, okay, if you maintain your monthly auto pay during this time and you don't freeze it and you don't hold it, what we're going to do is we are going to give you, you're going to have 1 personal yoga session per week for the next 3 weeks. And we're going to extend your membership for 6 months. And then 6 months after this is over, you're still in this like cash flow lull that lasts forever, or you have so many people that are booking private sessions that you don't have room for them. That's not going to help you in the long term either. So really what the goal is here is you want to kind of like, we're flattening the curve. I want to draw here, but I don't know how to do that. So you're flattening, right? We're trying to flatten the curve as it comes to epidemic. I want you to think about that as your business too. What you don't want to have is this huge spike where you lose all of your revenue right now, and then you can't sustain to get back to the reemergence that we're going to have. Instead, if you're going to take a hit, if your business is going to take a hit, if you can flatten that so it's over a longer period of time, maybe the revenue hit is the same, but it doesn't happen all at once. It happens over a stretch so that you're, taking smaller hits for a longer period of time, but that allows you to sustain. It allows you to continue to make your lease payments. It allows you to continue to pay your bills and your overhead, right? So those are things that are really important to be thinking about as a business owner. But in the effort of flattening your own economic impact and the impact that it has on your business, if you're not thinking about what is the effect 6 months from now, you can be in a situation where what you did to stay sustainable now actually makes it harder for you to be sustainable in the long term. So you've got to be able to deliver on what you're offering. So really to think about this from the standpoint of, if you are a business where your customers aren't able to access your services and your product in a way that they typically would. So, you're a hairdresser, you're a yoga studio, you're a co-working space, you're a house cleaner. If you're watching, you have some other ideas, shoot those in the comments for me. And you're saying, well, I want people not to just cancel in droves all at the same time, because that will put me out of business. So I want to find something to incentivize them to continue their membership during this time, recognizing that we want to make it compelling for them on the back end, right? So if basically you have, say, 40% of your members right now, if you're a yoga studio, have put their memberships on hold for auto pay. Maybe it's 60%, but let's just go with the number. 40% have already put their memberships on hold. So you have 60% of your consistent cash flow that you kind of rely on every month that is at risk right now. And so what you need to be thinking about is, what's the best thing to do for the customer in a way that actually helps me to be able to continue to provide and to serve in the long term. And so right now, you've got that 60% bucket who they're still paying, and they're probably paying out of the goodness of their heart because they care about your business, they want to support you. But that only goes so far because things are going to get tighter and scarier for everyone before they get better. And so how can you get people to commit now to maintaining that and saying, what's the win-win for them? So if I'm a yoga studio, I'm thinking about, okay, I've got this 60% of my customers, my auto pay customers that we're paying every month. We're not doing yoga classes now. Maybe I'm offering some yoga classes online. Maybe we're doing those for free. Maybe we're doing them paid. But what can I be doing? So maybe it might be, okay, here's what we're going to do. If you maintain your auto pay during COVID, for as long as this has happened, we're going to extend we're going to give you 3 months afterwards. So we're going to give you 3 months free at the back end. So when those other 40% come back and they're paying, then I'm going to take some other people offline, right? So I'm stretching out the duration versus everyone not paying at the same time. I don't know if this is making sense. I feel like I'm overcomplicating this. But what I'm trying to say is you don't want, just like we don't want our medical system to be inundated with everyone coming to the ER and everybody needing ventilators at the same time. What you don't want for your business is to take a complete financial hit now in a way that you can't sustain it. Versus if you can kind of say, we know we're probably going to lose at some point, we're going to lose 3 months of revenue. But if we can split that into chunks so that it's like 25, 25, 25, 25 over a period of time, then we can figure out, okay, what can we do to make up that 25% versus what do we need to do to make 100%? So the other thing I'm thinking about, if you're a yoga studio, for example, you could be saying, okay, right now, if you maintain your monthly membership, not only are we going to offer free streaming classes for free to our community, so you can log on to those, whether you are paying or not paying, but I will schedule a Zoom share screen yoga session with you where I can give you feedback and postures and cue you. So I can do a posture clinic with you via Zoom as a thank you for maintaining your membership during this hard time. Right? So think about, what would your members value? What would your customers value that you can offer during this time to incentivize them? And people really, ultimately, they don't want to pay if they're not getting something. So it might be like, okay, if you maintain your membership, we will give you a free 10 card that you can give to a friend, or a 5 card, whatever makes sense for your business, or that you can utilize down the road and put your membership on pause and use that punch card after this is over, right? With the goal really being to stretch out the impact so that you don't take it all at once, that it's more of this gradual impact over time. Because here's the other great thing about this. When we come out of this, when we reemerge, there's going to be pent-up demand. During that period of pent-up demand and our normalization to whatever the new normal of how the world is going to look, how your business is going to look, you are going to be operating in a higher potential to generate more capital. So if you have made offers to people that are going to affect your cash flow 6 months from now, 6 months from now, you're going to have more of an ability to make that up than you do now. So if you can delay the impact on your business into the future, you're going to be better positioned to have less of an impact. Because right now, if somebody's never been a customer of yours and you're a yoga studio, I'm just going to keep using this example, the likelihood that somebody's going to sign up, it depends on the business. There are businesses where people are actually going to get more people signing up because they have more time. But I'm using this example. If you're a yoga studio, you're not probably having a lot of brand new people come and say, let me give you my money. But your customers, your loyal customers who love your business, who love you, who love what you do, they want to support you. And if you make it easy to do that by providing a win-win for them, they're going to be much more likely to do so. And you can take a hit 3 months from now or 6 months from now, much more sustainably than you might be able to right now when everything is happening. Because 3 months, 6 months from now, new customers are going to say, oh my gosh, I'm so happy to be out of my house. I did yoga at home, but I really want to join a studio now, right? There's going to be this pent up demand where people are going to be so excited to be out of their house and returning to normal that they're going to be looking for services that they missed during this time. And so even for somebody, and I'm using yoga as an example because I vacillate, right? Like sometimes I go to a studio, sometimes I don't, but I could see where after this is over saying like, man, I haven't had been to a yoga studio for a long time, but after this, I realized I really miss the community aspect. I want to go join a yoga studio again. So there's going to be more demand for services in some industries after this over than there was before, and it's going to hit quickly. And so if you can kind of try to time that with your business of saying, okay, for our existing members, for staying with us, we're going to put their membership on hold, but they can still use it. We're going to give them a month free when we reopen because they stuck with us, and they're going to get a private lesson, and we're going to do a Zoom posture studio for them. Wow, that feels really compelling for me. And I feel like, okay, I'm happy to give you my money. I'm getting more than my value in return. I was probably going to keep paying anyways because I want to support your business. But now I feel like I'm getting so much out of it that when things get tight, it's going to be really harder. It's going to be a lot harder for me to cut you versus somebody else where I'm not getting that same value add. So what I want you to think about for your business today is how can you create a win-win for your customers? How can you incentivize your current customers to continue to either do business with you or pay you during this time? And especially if you are limited in your ability to offer what they're paying for, what does that look like? What's the why for them of why they would want to do this? It doesn't have to be, if you continue to pay your auto pay through June 1st, you get a year free, right? There's a happy medium, but people love to feel like they're winning by supporting you. So make that easy for them. Help your customers win by supporting you. And don't just make it about you, make it about them too. We want to help you to continue to build your practice during this time. And we recognize that there's probably times you're doing classes at home and you're not sure if you're doing the postures right. As someone who's continuing to pay for your monthly membership fee, we are offering you a posture review during a yoga studio once a month during this time. Or maybe it's, we're doing small groups. So we're doing it once a week for groups of 5 people where we can be streaming a yoga class and I can be watching you doing the postures and give you feedback on small adjustments and cues that you can make. That makes me feel like, oh, I'm going to continue to deepen my practice and get better with much more one-on-one support than I might even get in the studio. That's fantastic. And then afterwards, I'm going to get a 5 card to invite a friend to come to yoga with me, which is introducing somebody else to the yoga studio. So that's a win for the studio and it's a win for the students. So really thinking about what are the things that you can be doing to create those win-win scenarios that incentivize people in a way that's productive for them and for the business to continue to support you. People want to support businesses during this time, but people are also having to make hard choices. They're looking at their own P&L statements. They're looking at their own impacts of their business. And even if they're not being impacted, they're thinking about what if this continues to go on? I need to make some decisions and shore up some things financially. And so at some point, even though they want to, it's going to be harder to do that. But if they're continuing to get value and be served by you and see the value and how that's going to impact their bottom line for the long term, they're going to be much more likely to stick with you through this. So shoot me a message in the comments. I posted online. We did some tech tools and resources during this time. If you missed that, I will put the PDF on the bottom. But for today, what I really want you thinking about is, can you create a compelling offer for your existing customers to continue to stick with you during this time, where it's a win-win, where it's a win for your business and it's a win for them, and they get to feel good that they're helping support your small business, but they also get to feel like they're getting something in return for doing that. So if you have questions about that, if you want to brainstorm what that would look like for your business, shoot me a message and I would be happy to talk to you about that. That's all I have to say. We're going to come back tomorrow and we're going to talk about other ways to start looking for help for your business, to help shore things up financially to get through this acute period. If you have other questions about how you continue to grow and thrive and sustain during uncertain times, shoot me a message and I would be happy to answer those. We are going live every day around 10, sometimes earlier, sometimes later, depending on my appointments and my schedules. But I always look forward to hearing from you, and I hope you are having a fantastic week.